Okay. Thank you, Roseanne. And I want to thank the panelists for being here tonight. We have members of the Cat Writers Association. They're going to introduce themselves, but I'm going to start and introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I work at the library. I'm a librarian and an author. My name is Debbie D. Louise, and I'm also a member of the Cat Writers Association. And I'm the author of books featuring cats. Also, I have dogs in some of my books. I've had, let me just, hold on. I've had, people are still coming in. Okay, so I write the Cobble Cove Cozy Mystery Series, which features a Siamese cat named Sneaky, and he's a library cat. There are 5 books in the series, and also I have 4 stories that are separate. They're ebook stories, but they do feature the same characters as the books. I've also written other books, not just Cozy Mysteries. Cozy Mysteries, for those of you who don't know, I'll just give a brief description of them. They're usually books that are fun to read. They feature quirky characters. They take place in small towns usually. There's a murder, but there's not a lot of violence. There's no explicit sex. There's really no foul language. Think of Agatha Christie maybe. There's some cozy mysteries have recipes. Joanne Fluke writes books like that. And in some feature pets, like, my series. My latest book, actually, my first book of poetry just came out, Meows and Purrs, and that's one of the books I'll be giving away at the end in the raffle. But I'm gonna go around now before we get to the questions. I have some questions for the panelists, but and also you can type in the chat. We'll try to address questions at the end that you might have for either the whole group or an individual panelist. But we'll start going around with the introduction so you can get to know all these folks who are good friends of mine. And as I said, fellow authors and cat writers and dog writers too. We'll start with Diane Stuckart.
Hello, everybody. Since I'm reading or giving my own introduction, I'll leave out all the braggy stuff. I started out writing historical romance back in the 90s under the names Alexa Smart and Anna Gerard. And then I switched over to short fiction under my own name. And then eventually I moved over to the mystery genre, and I found out that that was really my home. Probably because thinking back on my historical romances, there was usually a dead body or 2 in every single one of those. So I think I was not writing in the correct genre at the time. Right now, I am writing 2 different series. I actually started out in mystery with the Leonardo da Vinci historical mystery series. And shout out to my auntie who did a little bit of editing for me, since she speaks fluent Italian and I needed some help every so often. After that series, I wrote the Black Cat Bookshop Mystery series. That series is written as Allie Brandon. And after that series ended, I have 2 more going. One is the Tarot Cats Mystery series. This one's a little bit different. We'll talk about it some more because it features talking cats. And also write the Georgia B&B Mystery Series. And horror of horrors, it features a dog in it rather than a cat. So I think, I'm not sure if Amy's the one who came up with this or not, but I'm bipetual, equal opportunity for dogs and for cats there. So anyhow, I'm very happy to be here and looking forward to telling a little bit more about my books and listening to what the other ladies have to say.
Thank you, Diane. I also have a dog in my Cobble Cove series, Fido, and I have Ruby, the beagle also. Fido is a golden retriever. So I do feature, Sneaky runs the show, but as cats usually do, but I do have dogs. One of the things I wanted to add about the panel tonight, unfortunately, one of our panel members is sick. Carole Nelson Douglas. But we're going to introduce her later because she wanted to be here. It was a sudden illness, and she did donate something for the raffle. So we'll discuss that later. But we'll move on to Amy Shojai.
Hi, that's me. I call myself the accidental pet writer. I did not start out thinking I was going to be a writer. I have a twin brother, and he was the writer in the family, but I worked as a vet tech for a number of years and told my parents, I told everybody all these wonderful stories, the experiences I had had. And my mom said, you need to write those down. And so I did. I started out as a nonfiction writer. I wrote for the pet press for years and years, Cat Fancy, Dog World magazine, all of those that have since gone to the great magazine place in the sky. And I continue to write articles, but ended up writing a lot of nonfiction books. I'd always wanted to write fiction too. So now I'm doing both. I have 35 and counting nonfiction pet books out, anything from first aid to a lot of behavior. I'm a behavior consultant, so that kind of informs a lot of my writing. And I am now writing a thriller series. And as Debbie said, she writes cozies. A lot of people write cozies. I write thrillers. Thrillers are a little bit different, whereas cozies are whodunit. There's kind of a puzzle involved. Thrillers are how done it and why done it. Oftentimes, you know up front who done the dirty deed, and it's a ticking clock trying to figure out if the protagonist is going to win or not, is going to survive. And my main character is an animal behaviorist, and she has a service dog, a German Shepherd service dog, and he has his own viewpoint chapters. He does not talk, but he does perceive the world as a dog would. I have 5 in that series. It's the September Day series, and Shadow is her service dog. The most recent book in the series, there's 5 now. Her cat, her Maine Coon cat, Macy cat, has his own viewpoint chapters in the 5th book in this series. And so I have a lot of fun sharing cat and dog behavior expertise, not only in the nonfiction, but also in the fiction. And just as a side note, I'm one of the people at fault for Cat Writers Association, I guess, because all those years ago, I was one of the founders. So I'm very proud of that, but I'm also a card-carrying longtime member of the Dog Writers Association too. So equal opportunity pet lover, bipedal, as we sometimes say. A good friend of mine, Chris Walkowitz, who was at the time the Dog Writers Association president, came up with that. So I'll give credit there to Chris.
Thanks so much, Amy. And I see your pets behind you.
Oh, probably. Yes. Yes. I have 2 right now. I have, and then many that are still here in my heart that continue to inspire us. I think that happens with all of us.
It sure does. I have my cats on the floor here, but I don't think they're going to make an appearance right now. Thanks so much. And I'm so glad to have you here. And we'll speak with Mollie now about her writing and herself, an introduction. And then she also will introduce Carole, who couldn't make it here tonight, but who we're going to do a little intro to.
Hi, welcome everybody. It's good to see you here. I'm Mollie Hunt. I write 2 cozy series, the Crazy Cat Lady Cozy Mysteries, which features a cat shelter volunteer. And I've just started a new series, the 10th Life Cozy Mysteries. And they feature an elderly lady who has moved to the coast to fulfill her dream and ends up living with a ghost cat. The name of the first book is The Ghost Cat of Ocean Cove. I am a proud member of the Cat Writers Association, as well as the Northwest Independent Association of Writers and Sisters in Crime, and a few, the Oregon Writers Colony, which is another local group, which I very much love. I also write a science fantasy series. It's going to be a tetralogy. That means there's 4.
Mhm.
This is the second one, Cat Winter, and it involves cats saving the world. And I'm now going to read a little biography of Carole Nelson Douglas, who couldn't be with us today. Here's a review from Publishers Weekly. Carole Nelson Douglas takes anthropomorphism to elegant heights in Midnight Louie. A Tom, who's a private dick, Harry's Las Vegas malefactors, an irresistible combination of Sam Spade and Damon Runyon. And when Carole met Louie, award-winning and best-selling ex-journalist Carole Nelson Douglas has written 64 mystery and fantasy novels. Midnight Louie owns 34 of them. Readers devour his sassy narrations in a first-person voice borrowed from Damon Runyon's stories about savvy human street survivors on Depression-era Broadway. And Savvy, this stray Black California motel cat that guests named Midnight Louie was in real life. His diet of $1,000 decorative koi fish had him destined for death until a woman guest flew him 117 miles home in a borrowed puppy crate. Oh, the shame. Carole, a cat rescuer since toddlerhood, wrote a newspaper feature about the wily cat, but his own voice took over. I like my night life shaken, not stirred, a la James Bond. Absinthe Without Leave, first in Louis' new Café Noir series, follows his 28-book alphabetically titled 1992 debut mystery series, Cat in an Alphabet Soup 2, Cat in an Alphabet Endgame. Yes, Louis has another entire alphabet of tales left in him.
Thank you, Molly. And thanks for sharing, Carole's bio. She's one of my favorite authors, actually. I was reading Midnight Louie a long time ago when I first started writing. All right, I'm going to now address, I have questions for the panelists, and also I'll even answer a question myself. And then, later we'll take questions from the audience. If you can type them in the chat now, and then later on at the end of the program, we'll address them. Or you can ask a question then if you want, and then we'll do the raffles. So we'll start with Diane again, this time with the question about her dog and cat characters that she writes about. Diane, do you approach creating fictional felines any differently from writing about canines, or do you handle all animal characters pretty much the same?
Well, I would say that my cat characters tend to go by the saying, cats rule and dogs drool. And my dog characters, of course, think that they are superior to cats. So the exception to that, though, is in my Tarot Cats mystery series, because there we have 2 black cats, Brandon Bobtail and his sister Ophelia, and they really are besties with Zuki the pit bull. So they get along great there. But other cats and dogs do show up in the series. And I'd say beyond that, whether or not they are talking animals or, if they're non-speaking characters in there, they all have different personalities. It's just like all your human characters will tend to be different. But I do try to use some of the characteristics of my own cats and dogs, give them to the various characters there. So it's more of a matter of observing and incorporating. But yeah, the cat characters do have a special place in my heart.
Thank you. Amy, you write both nonfiction and fiction books featuring pets. What is your process? How are they alike, different?
For me, nonfiction, I've been doing it so long that it's almost effortless. My first, as I said, I started out as a magazine writer. And so I love research. And so in that, the fiction is similar because I do a lot of research, and the people that have read the fiction probably be familiar with the fact or fiction sections at the back of the book, where I will say, you know, this is situation is actually based on fact. Like the most recent book that has the cat that does search and rescue finding lost cats. This is the fact. This is being done today. And other parts of it, I say, no, I made it up out of whole cloth. I just made all of that up. So that's a lot of fun. But the fiction takes forever. It is like, for me, for the first draft is like, you know, open a vein. It takes absolutely forever for me to do that. The fun for me is the editing after the fact. So, you know, with the nonfiction, there were times when I was writing 2 and 3 books at the same time. And my researchers were calling me back, and I'd say, now, which book did I call you about that I'm working on to keep track? The fiction, I have to shut everything off and do nothing but get in that world. And so again, that makes it more difficult to do it that way. But I don't know. I will say one of the books that I'm giving away just for people to see, and there's the dog one too, Equal
They're beautiful
Opportunity.
books. They are coffee table books.
These are the first ones I've ever done
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
that are in full color.
Beautiful books.
So it's the, you know, the celebrating the history, culture, and love of the cat or of the dog. And so the back parts of them, this was so much fun because I got to pick out all these pretty cute
Wow.
kitty pictures, and had a ball doing that. With the fiction, I don't have to worry about illustrating them. That's going to be in the reader's brain and the reader's mind. And I think for me, the fiction writing, when I first started doing it, I wrote the fiction book I'd always wanted to read, and I hadn't been able to find. And I find that when I am writing a scene, if I am getting emotional about it, if my heart is pounding, if I am crying through emotion, my readers will too. And so it's a very visceral kind of a process for me when I'm writing my fiction. And maybe that's why it takes so darn long to do. Guys, cut it out. I'm sorry, I've got 2 that are just driving me crazy here.
Okay, mine have fallen asleep. Thank you. Thanks, Amy. Mollie, now, in your Crazy Cat Lady Cozy Mystery series, the cats don't speak. They're ordinary cats, but in your cat season science fantasy tetralogy, the cat characters communicate with both humans and other cats. What's the difference, if any, in your writing style for these 2 genres?
Thank you, Debbie. There are some big differences and no difference. The cats in both my cozy mysteries and my sci-fi drive the story, and in the sci-fi series, they're the heroes. They're the main characters. In fact, all the characters are cats, aside from the one human who becomes transformed into a cat. So yeah, we have that. And but in the Crazy Cat Lady series and the new Cozy series, they're just cats. Now, when I say just cats, I still mean that they are smart, savvy, understanding, compassionate, indifferent, telepathic, crazy. I think a lot of cats. So I can really, we've got one in the Crazy Cat Lady series, Little, and Little is able to tell if something's going to be wrong, and another one has premonitions. but they don't talk, they just do cat things. In the sci-fi series, they do talk. They talk to each other. I explain it as maybe telepathic. No one can quite understand how they communicate. It's a mystery. But the main thing is that I keep cats being cats. Cats are cats, and they have to always do cat things, even if they're standing on their back legs and, forming an army and talking in Old English language. They still, need to sit down and scratch a flea or, lick a paw or something that makes them cats. They have to be cats. And it's really important to me that they stay cats. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Molly. I can relate to that too, because in my Cobble Cove series, when I started it, the first couple of books, Sneaky was just a cat and he helped find clues. I mean, it wasn't just a cat, but he didn't talk or anything. He just helped lead Alicia, the librarian, to different clues to the murder or the mystery or whatever. And then later on, when I introduced Kitty Kai, who's his female friend, she's a calico cat, I started to have them converse with each other, but only they could talk with one another. The readers could see their thoughts, but the characters in the book, Alicia and the other characters, did not know what they were saying to one another. They were, and now I just submitted to my publisher a story that has Fido. I started introducing more of his character, and there's going to be the 2 dogs and the 2 cats in this one, but Fido is going to lead the mystery. So, and they all talk with one another. Dogs and cats can converse with one another, but not to the humans. So, I think that's an interesting way to make some changes in the books. Carole gave me the answers to some of her questions, even though she couldn't be here. So I did want to read one of the questions. This was a very simple answer that she had, but the question was, you're writing your 34th Midnight Louis PI Las Vegas mystery, but it is a second book of his new Cafe Noir mystery series. How did that happen? So Carole's answer, I have it on my phone here. She sent an email. Her answer was that she ran out of the alphabet, because her series, if that's her answer, her Midnight Louis series, each book it was based on the alphabet, and she went through the whole alphabet. So now she created a new series starting again. So now that was a simple answer. I have a question for myself. My question was, how did you get started writing about cats? Well, I've been writing a long time, and I grew up with cats, but I like to write stories. I never published them. I was young. I was even in grade school, I was writing stories, but I didn't really put cats into them. And then when I heard about the Cat Writers Association, it was back in the late 90s. And because I had cats, I thought, maybe I should write about them. And because when you have an interest in something, it comes out in your writing. It's something that you have the knowledge and the interest in. And then I found out that in order to become a professional member of the Cat Writers Association, I had to have 2 published works. They could be books or stories or articles. So I started writing articles. I kind of started like Amy with magazines. And I wrote at that time Cat Fancy and, Tufts. I used to write for the Catnip newsletter. But I was accepted. They did publish my work in 2 magazines. So I became a member, a professional member of Cat Writers. I've been a member ever since '99. And then I wrote a short mystery, a short cat mystery that was in an anthology. We have these books at the library too, Cat Crimes Through Time. And Carole is in that anthology, and some other authors, and they all have cat mysteries related to time travel, which is a theme that I've written about in other works. But anyway, after that, I wrote my first book, but it was self-published. It was actually it was a romance, but it was written after my cat Floppy died. That was back in 2007, and it was called Cloudy Rainbow, and it was a love story, but the cat played a big role in it, and it was based on my own cat Floppy. Then I called the cat Floppy in the book, but the story was fictionalized. I had some real scenes in it that really happened, which all my books, I do that. I feature real scenes that are fictionalized. After that, I didn't write for a while. I had a young daughter and I was working full time at the library. So I took a little break, but a patron kept encouraging me to write something else. So I wrote the book, A Stone's Throw, which is one of the books that I'm donating. It's the first book of my Cobble Cove series. The cover is slightly different now, but this is the book, A Stone's Throw. The book featured Sneaky the library cat. He's based on Oliver's Siamese that I also had, who has since passed away. But Sneaky is based on him. And I sold that book to a small publisher. And since then, I have changed publishers, but I have 2 publishers now. And the series is 5 books, as I said. The second book of the series, I'm also giving away, Between a Rock and a Hard Place. This one is a holiday mystery. And of course, Sneaky is in it, and the Cobble Cove characters. And then I've written other books. Like I said, I have the 2 publishers, but I try to feature cats in my books. I think that pets, cats or dogs or any type of pet, I even have a parrot in one of my books. People like to read about them. Sometimes they lend a little bit of humor to the book, but they also, people have pets, people like pets, they like reading about them, even if they're not the main, like in a lot of my books, they don't play big roles, but it's nice to have them included. That's about it, about how I got started, really with the Cat Writers Association, which I'm still a member today. And if any of you write cat mysteries or know anyone who does, you know, we will always, we're always looking for members, and it's a great group. All right, so we have another question for the panelists. We'll start with Mollie this time. I'm sorry, yeah. All right, you just finished the first book in a cozy mystery, new cozy series featuring a ghost cat. All right, have you been visited by a cat spirit yourself? I think you're muted, Mollie.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
This is my new book, just came out last week.
I can't wait
Ghost
to read
Cat of Ocean Cove. Yeah, I have. In fact, more often than not. I can't tell you the first time. I think I was a child, and we had a big old cat.
Oh, Harry. Oh boy.
Kind of a Harry. Hi, Harry.
Hi, Harry. Say hi.
We had a big old cat named Two, because he was the second cat, and he passed away. And I don't know what age I was, but I kept seeing him. I kept telling my mother that, oh, well, there's Two, he's over there. Or he came and got on the bed, and she could never see him. She never saw him. But luckily I was raised by a mother with a good imagination and a spark of creativity. So she never said, no, you didn't see that cat. She just let me believe. And I've been quite involved with cat welfare. I am a volunteer for the Oregon Humane Society, just like my my character in my Crazy Cat Lady mysteries. I've had a therapy cat that I've taken to hospitals and assisted living facilities and hospice patients. I've done a lot of different cat stuff. I foster, and I've met a lot of cats, and I'm still learning all the time about cats. I mean, I thought I knew everything about cats, and that's when, it really started. I now know I will never know everything about cats. But having met all these cats, I have adopted many, many. And unfortunately, since many of my adoptees are senior cats or cats with special needs, they pass on. More times than not, there is some spark that they send me after they've gone, either in a dream. Sometimes they sit on, I can feel a weight on my bed. Sometimes it's just a wisp of peripheral vision. I'm sure that if I weren't such a fantasist, I could talk myself out of any of those things and say, nah, it's not real. But that's not me. I believe it's real. And I'm not the only one. When I, just one more little point, when before I published Ghost Cat, I had a contest running of, have you seen a ghost cat? And many, many people answered, and most all of them answered with experiences with a ghost cat. So
Well,
I'm not
Mollie,
alone.
I was one of the people who answered, and I
Yes,
can
you were.
tell you, I've spoken with Dusty Rainbolt, who's she published a book about stories, and I've spoken with her about my experience, my whole family's experience with these cats. And it's a strange phenomenon. It's not a frightening one. It's not like you see a ghost. It's not a frightening one. But I don't know who these cats are. I see them, I just see the cat. I know it's not my cats that are in the house because I see that they're somewhere else, but I see something and then it disappears. And I have this very strange thing. It's going to be in the book, but this strange thing after my mother passed away, Oliver, he was a senior cat. He's the one that Sneak is based on. Oliver passed away. He was my mother's cat. We took him in as a senior cat. And after he passed away, and then 9 months later, my mother passed away, and they were real close. And on her birthday, there was there was an image of a cat on my ceiling. This was her birthday after she passed away. It's a very strange thing. I've never seen it again. I've also seen the rainbow that came after Oliver passed, like Rainbow Bridge. Where did that come from? It's in the book, it's in the story. But I mean, there are things we can't explain, even when in family members that we've lost. My mother-in-law, also my mother, there are things that if you're in tune with them, there are things that happen you don't realize, not that you actually see a ghost, but you can get a communication. And I'm off topic here, but I just wanted to say to you that I can relate to what you said about ghost cats, and I can't wait to read your book.
Yeah, and something just real quick, I'll add to that. It's not just cats. When Bravo died, my bull mastiff died March 4th. The next day, he always slept with me, and he's this huge dog, and he had bone cancer. He had lost a foreleg. And that morning I woke up and opened my eyes, not even thinking, and he was there, and I touched his face.
Wow.
And he had all four legs, and then he was gone. Wow. And I've had visitations before, but never anything like that. So, and no, it was not scary at all. It was very comforting.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Oh,
very
no.
interesting. Now we'll go to Diane. Well, I also have a question sort of related to this for Diane. Your first Tarot Cats book, Fool's Moon, which I know you're donating, has a few paranormal elements in addition to the talking cats and dogs and fish and roosters. Do any other of your books contain supernatural elements?
Well, actually, this was not my first foray into talking animals. Back when I was publishing short stories, I'd contributed to several anthologies, And this was one called Constellation. Oh, I have to keep doing the opposite way. A Constellation of Cats. And isn't that cover is just adorable. I love it. But all the stories in there, of course, had to do with kitties. And my story was called Once We Were Worshipped. And since I was still in my historical mode, of course, I was set that, I think it was like around 1912 in New England. And the story featured two cats, Selena Quicksilver and Thomas Moonraker, and they live with this dusty old archaeologist in the courtyard of his old little cottage style house. And Selena decided that she had been poking around into some of his books, and it was time to try to raise a mummy cat from the dead so she could find out about how cats once used to be worshipped. Unfortunately, she was successful at doing that and found out that sometimes it's not such a smart idea to, delve around in magic like that. So I really enjoyed those two characters. And that's one reason that I have Brandon and Ophelia in my Tarot Cats mystery, because I just enjoyed the interaction of, the kitties talking together. And I've been swearing for the past several years that I'm going to go ahead and write some more stories with Selena and Thomas. And here's my bad secret. I have 2 book covers already to do those stories, and I just have not written them yet. So that I swear that will happen one day. The only other thing, now this is a little bit of trivia for you. Not very many people know this, but my Black Cat Bookshop mystery series, it features Hamlet the cat, and it's a traditional cozy mystery series. But at the very end, are we getting a cat attack back there?
Getting my background.
So,
He wants attention. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. Sorry. At the very end of the first book, when I turned it into my publisher, I had added a little epilogue there where Hamlet the cat is seeing the ghost of his late owner. And they kind of share, a little, he doesn't say anything, but she's talking to him and the curtains are fluttering and all that. And I thought that was kind of fun. And my thought was I would continue that going forward in the series, just that little bitty hint every so often, which was one thing that kind of made Hamlet special. Well, my editor did not like that. My editor took a poll of all her editor friends at the publishers. None of them liked that. So they said, we will remove this from the book.
Hold on.
And it's like, and so finally, that's what happened. And the books did very well. People loved Hamlet a lot, but I've never quite forgiven them for doing that. So.
Well, Diane, just as an aside, I've talked to Carole about this before. Her first stories that included Midnight Louie, her editors took out all mention, because you can't have a cat that is talking. That's for kids. You can't do that. And of course, how successful were they? So
exactly, yeah. I've had some in fact, the editor she was actually an awesome editor. But on that, we did not agree. And, it would have made it a different type of series. So maybe she had a point, but I get to indulge myself all I want to in my Tarot Cats.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I wrote the first thriller that I did, because I'd never read anything like what I wanted to read. And everybody that I had run it by said, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's, talking animals or animals that think or have their own viewpoint. That's for kids' books. And I thought, no, my book is not a children's book by any means. There are murders every other page. So you don't,
don't put that in the kids section.
Right. You okay, Debbie?
Trying to get resettled. I'm sorry, my cat, he wants attention, and it's, how cats get.
That's why mine gets thrown out of the room when we Zoom.
Yeah, I keep looking down because I've got a dog.
I didn't realize he'd actually knock it down. He's a big guy.
Yeah, I've got the cat and the dog trying to.
Sort of settled here.
So anyhow, I'm done, Debbie. You can proceed with the next question.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. I do actually have Carole now. For those who are just tuning in, there's a couple of people that joined us. Carole couldn't be with us tonight, but she did leave some of her answers from the questions. And this one asked about Midnight, her character Midnight Louie. With Midnight Louie running so strong, why did you create a new series with 2 dogs featured? So her new series has 2 dogs. Louise' new, this is what she says, Louise' new Cafe Noir series is set in a slightly spooky version of Louis' contemporary Las Vegas and features Delilah Street, paranormal PI, an action heroine, and her 2 wildly different dogs. Her wildly different dogs, Quicksilver and Achilles. I thought that would be fun to explore. But all the places and faces and beloved characters from the Alphabet series are there, maybe a bit altered. The first Cafe Noir book is Absinthe Without Leave and is widely available in all formats but audio. Coming for Christmas is Brandy Alexander on the Rocks. Sounds great. All right, so sorry she couldn't make it tonight. All right, so my question, besides books that feature cats, you also write cat articles and stories. Why do you like, which do you like writing better, cat books, stories, or articles? And which do you find the most challenging to write and why? I think Amy touched on this a little bit about when she talked about fiction writing and how it could be a little bit more difficult than nonfiction writing. But I enjoy writing different formats. I even tried my hand at poetry, and I'm going to be talking about that later. I do have a new book out, which is Meows and Purrs. It goes good with the green background. And I have poems about all my cats, not only my current cats, but the cats I've had. I have Oliver in there. Way back to my childhood. I have a book about a poem about my mother because she was a big cat lover. Well, my whole family, we had dogs and cats. But as far as my writing, the different formats of writing, the difference between writing, a book is much harder to write than a story or an article, only because basically none of them are easy to write. But books are very time consuming. They're big. I mean, they take a long time to write. And then there's the editing process. There's a lot involved. Stories are also, they might be shorter. They still take time to write. And they're not any easier than writing a book because you still need the plot. You still need the characters. It's a little different. It's a condensed form. Of course, you can be writing, and when you write nonfiction, that's also everything has to be researched, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. So that's time consuming. But the thing I find about article writing is that, with my books, I publish them, as I said, with 2 publishers, but they're small publishers and they have the print on demand books. So I don't get an advance for my books. I don't earn money from the beginning. An advance, if people who don't know, is if you have a large publisher, sometimes you get money up front when you publish a book, but you have to earn that out as you sell the book, and then you don't get royalties until that's earned out. But with my books, I get nothing at the beginning, but my publisher pays for everything. And then they take the money out of my royalties, which when I sell the book, I get the net royalties. So whatever it costs the publisher, I get, some of that, but publishers always take most of it out. But with an article, you get a flat fee, you get a flat rate. So I make more sometimes from my articles than I do out of royalties. However, the articles are a one-time flat rate, so I don't get anything else. Like the royalties, as the book sells, they're ongoing. But I do enjoy writing them all. I like to try different formats, and sometimes when I'm done with a book, I like to take a break and write a story or like write an article. It's like a little break, but it keeps me creative. I don't like if I get into like you know, like if I can't think of something or I'm getting stuck, it helps writing smaller pieces and then going back to the novels. So that's basically how I feel about the different formats. But I do enjoy they're all challenging and they're all a creative expression.
I have one thing to add on to that.
Yeah, sure.
It's different for every writer. And it is harder for me to write a short story than it is to write a 500-page book.
I can understand that. I can understand that. You know, there's differences between the different formats.
Me
but,
too. Every short story I've ever tried to write is turned into a novel. I can't write short, not for the fiction.
Because sometimes, you know, they have, like, if you're entering a contest or you're an anthology, they have word limits. And I find it, sometimes it's difficult. Like I either write not enough or too much. So it's very hard sometimes to get to the right amount of words. But with a novel, it's sometimes, you know, you get to a point where I don't know, I find that I want it to be longer, but I don't want to add excessive stuff to it. You know, I want it to still be good. Like I come to the end before I need to, but you know, that's, you know, so but like you said, Amy, with the short story, sometimes it becomes longer than you want and it could almost become a book. And a lot of people take short stories and make them into books.
Yeah, and what happens with my first draft is usually quite short on the fiction. And for thrillers, I aim for 80 to 90,000 words. So my first draft may be 75, something like that. And then when I go back and I edit and I find the holes and I said, oh, that's why I wrote that there. Then I need to bring it back in here. And I usually add 10 to 20,000 words on the first edit. And so that's kind of the way, and I usually go through 3 to 5 edits before I send it to my editor.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, cozies tend to be shorter than a thriller or a science fiction. It tends to be shorter. But, you know, I mean, there were authors who wrote very short, famous authors. I know that they wrote short, and today it's a little different, but it's you know, it's a wide range. So anyway, I have a general question for all of you, and I think you'll enjoy this, and we'll go around again. If I can find it now. Okay, I'm going to talk about the books, but I had now I remember the question, but I can't find where I wrote it down. Oh, here it is. Tell us about your current pets, or any that you've had if you don't have any right now, and were any of these pets included in your writing? So, all right. I'm starting with this one. I'm sorry. Okay, so I currently have Harry, who just knocked down my background. He's a black short hair, and he's 3 years old. His sister, they adopted them together, Harry and Hermione. Hermione's over there, with her little paws crossed. She's a calico, a little white paws. And I have Stripey, who's 13 years old. And he's a tabby cat, striped tabby. My daughter named him when she was 4 years old. Yes, they've been in most of my work. Of course, you know, as of 3 years, they're only with me 3 years. But I have all my cats, as I said, in Meows and Purrs. And I also wrote a nonfiction book featuring my cats. The cat chats. Pet Post the Cat Chats, and that has a story about all my cats. In the poetry book, by the way, I have pictures, and I also have notes about how I was inspired to write each of the stories. So, I mean, they did this in black and white, but that's Harry. And if you see the book, you can Minnie Panther. So I have Oliver, the Siamese. I don't know if you can see him here. But each book has each poem is about one of my cats. But I've also added them into my stories. They're not in the Cobble Cove series. No, that was Oliver. It was Sneaky. Although Kitty Kai is kind of based on Hermione. But the first book, when I introduced, I had a contest. I was looking for another cat to add to my series. and I opened it up to my newsletter subscribers, and the person who won had a calico. So that's how I got the idea for Kitty Kai, and that's the cat's name. So the woman won the contest. But right after that, that's when I adopted Hermione. So now she's the inspiration. I've had Harry in a subplot in my Memory Makers, which is another book that I've written. It's kind of like a thriller. It's like a psychological mystery. So I've had them in several of my books. Even if I don't have them by name, I have them by character. All right, so we'll go around again. Why did I not have? I'm a mess here. I got so messed up with this thing here. All right, well, let's Amy. What about you? We'll go to you since I see you on.
Okay. Well, the September and Shadow series, the dog character Shadow was based on my German Shepherd Magic. In fact, the first draft, he was called Magic, and then I decided to change the name when the book, before the book was published. The cat, Macy cat in the book, is not really based on Karma. He's more of a composite of all the cats that I've known. I used to tour as a spokesperson for a major pet products company, a pet food company, and met lots and lots and lots of cats at different shelters. And so he's kind of a composite there. But like you, Debbie, I do contests. I didn't do it for the first book, but actually I did for the first book. I do a Name That Pet contest with each of the books. And so one of my readers suggested the name Macy. And so Macy the Maine Coon also belongs to my main character and is in all of these books, but then all of these sub characters also happen. I have to be real careful because I end up with a cast of 1,000 pets. And then I have to write a little scenario for all of them. And all of these pets end up being heroes in the books. The first book, there is a dog who is a dog in an Alzheimer's unit and helps find the woman who is missing. That kind of helps with a clue. But every one of these books has one or more dog or cat heroes that are named by my readers, and then they get a autographed copy of the print book when it first comes out. They get bragging rights. They are named in the book in the acknowledgments, and possibly going forward, those characters may end up staying in the book. So, but I think when we live with our pets and share their love and maybe a pillow, I think we really kind of absorb their characteristics, and a lot of that unconsciously ends up on the page. I know I write from experience. I write what moves me, and usually that's the pets. So it may be a pet from when I was a child that is imbuing that character, or it may be one that I just recently lost. I ended up bringing a character named Magic into one of my more recent books as a spin-off character, and he is now a dog in training to be a police dog. And in fact, another character is named Karma, which is a Rottweiler, but that's the name of my cat. So because my cat Karma is very dog-like, and so he's kind of like a Rottweiler of the cat world. So that's kind of where that came from.
Great. That's cute. Molly, what about you? Your pets? Or pets in
I have 2 cats at the moment. As I said, I adopt older cats, and I've had 2 recent losses, which has got me down to 2. So I put my cat Blaze in Ghost Cat. He's the non-ghost cat. The Crazy Cat Lady series has a whole slew of my past cats, and it also has cats that I made up from nowhere.
All right, Diane.
I know we're running close on time, so I'll try to make this very fast.
Sure.
I have so many pets, or have had over the years, that Sorry, I'm not doing any contest. I've got enough to fill mine. My dear departed Ranger puppy, he was actually the inspiration. You see him right here for Pio the Hound in the Leonardo da Vinci Mystery Series. And for my Tarot Cats Mysteries, this is actually a fairly decent representation of Brandon Bobtail and Ophelia, which are my real life cats. And Brandon was named after my one pseudonym, Allie Brandon. And Ophelia was kind of the counterpoint of my fictional Hamlet the Cat from the Black Cat Bookshop Mystery Series, which actually was based on my first editor's cat. And then finally, in the Georgia B&B Mystery Series, you can see my doggy on here. This is supposed to be Matilda the Aussie. If you go to my website, you can find why there is actually a border collie on my book instead of an Australian Shepherd. It's a long story, and Maddie explains it far better than I. But my character of Matilda was based on my original Matilda, one of the smartest dogs I ever knew. And then my other Australian Shepherd, Oliver, sadly, both of them have passed, but Ollie was like the most big-hearted, friendly dog that anybody has ever known. So I put their characteristics together to make Maddie the Aussie for the Georgia B&B Mystery Series.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to the audience now. Roseanne, were there any questions from the audience that we can answer before we choose the raffles for the winners tonight?
It was just, I think it was a question for you, Debbie.
Okay.
Nancy asked.
Something about Sneaky?
Yes.
Okay. What was the question again? Was Sneaky mistaken for Sneaky Pie Brown?
Yes.
No. I was thinking actually, I know that it's a similar name, but I thought of Sneaky as, cats can be little, the personality of a cat, they can be sneaky. But I didn't really base it on Sneaky Pie Brown, and nobody's really mentioned it because Sneaky is Siamese. Is Sneaky a dog or is Sneaky a cat in the Sneaky Pie Brown? I know who answered the question. I forget if it's a dog or a cat in Rita Mae Brown's series. I know she has a dog.
A cat.
It is a cat?
Mhm.
Okay, but it's not Siamese.
I don't think so.
No. Okay. No, nobody's mentioned that, but I know I did think of it afterwards. I thought maybe it should be a different name, but it just fit.
Too late by then.
Yeah, right.
Well, if your characters are anything like mine, they name themselves quite often.
Yeah.
It's true, they do. Except for when we used Kitty Kai from the contest, and the person named the cat.
Oh, and I need to say something real quick because otherwise my dog won't let me sleep with him tonight. He's so new that he's not been mentioned in any of the books, and his name is Shadow. I named him after the character in the book because he showed up the day that we got the diagnosis of his best friend's cancer diagnosis. So he was like, he showed up, was a dumped puppy, and he helped Bravo get through and us get through a really hard time. And we called him Bravo's Shadow because he followed him everywhere. So that's kind of a reverse kind of a thing.
Were there any other questions, or does anybody have questions if they want to?
That was the only other question in the chat, but if anyone has questions, they could either use the raise hand function or they could actually unmute if they want.
I think we wore them out.
All right. So I think it's time to give away some prizes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna just there were 18 people here tonight, and I'm gonna go in and to choose the first winner. Okay. Oh, wait a second. All right, we're giving away 8 prizes tonight. So let's see.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think most people are going to win something. Now the way it's gonna work, let me just choose the winner now. Oh boy.
You gonna
Okay.
tell what they're gonna win first?
No, that's a surprise. They're all gonna win the books. No, okay, the way they're gonna win, okay, set one, there were 3 sets of print copy books, and then we're giving away some ebooks too. Each set is gonna have, I think there are 4 books in each set, one from each of the authors. So it's gonna be all along with bookmarks and things like that. Let's see who the first winner is. I'm going to look now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have to count. Okay. It will be Pat Smith is the first winner. I'm gonna write this down. She wins set 1.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I hope you enjoy it, Pat. Now, the way it works is that I'm gonna email you. I have all the emails of everyone. I'm gonna email you with your prize and then how you can claim it, okay? All right, so now we're gonna choose another raffle winner. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right, let's see who won this one. We have Elizabeth Kleckner. Write her down. Elizabeth has won set number 2. Okay, so I'll send you an email, Elizabeth. Okay. All right, we're gonna do set number 3. Oh, wow. Let's see. All right, we're gonna, so, oh, wait, I have to do that again. Hold on. 7. Takes a, I'm doing a random draw here, so it takes a minute or 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, Lorraine Ellis wins set number 3.
Yay, Frank.
Okay, set 3. All right, now we're gonna draw winners for ebooks, and there are let's see how many we had. We had 5 of those. Okay, so the next winner number 3. Okay, the next winner, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can. We're trying to give away something to almost everybody if we can. She won again.
Somebody keeps winning.
No, yeah, it's hard. We don't want the
Yeah.
same person. We want to give away as much as we can. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 5. I got another number. Thanks for your patience. 7. Nancy Boyd.
Yay.
Hey, thank you.
Yay.
Okay, so as I said, you'll get an email, Nancy, and I have a few more to do. Okay. The next winner is 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Melissa Castor. Is our next winner.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You'll be getting an email with information. We have 3 more people. Let's see. Next winner. 4. Oh, that's a new one. Chelsea Waters.
Okay.
Walters, I'm sorry. Chelsea Walters. Okay, congratulations. We have 2 more winners to go. 12. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7, 8, 10. Oh, this is tough. I got to draw that again. I'm sorry. 10. Okay. 10. All right. Mary Ann Panefska.
Okay.
P-A-N-E. Congratulations. And we have 1 more winner to go. Who's the lucky winner now? Let's see. And everybody was so generous to donate these books. All right, Nancy Snyder.
Okay.
All right. So that's it, folks. And I hope you, yes, you had something to say.
Yeah, I'll just say, anybody here that wants my first in series thriller,
Okay.
if you don't mind subscribing to my newsletter list, I give it away to anybody who subscribes to my newsletter list. And you can go to the website at my last name, Shojai.com, and I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah,
also.
type that in the chat, Amy. That's very generous.
Oh yeah, just go in there. You can subscribe, get it, and then you can unsubscribe if you want to. I hope you won't, but
that's great. Thank you. Thank you all for your donations. And for people here tonight who are part of the library summer reading, you know, we will be drawing the raffles for those prizes. I think, Roseanne, you said next week you'll be drawing them and then contacting the winners.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a lot of prizes in there. We have some books also, but we have gift certificates. We have other things for the summer reading participants. And Amy, yeah, your books are beautiful. They're like coffee table books, beautifully illustrated. And I hope you enjoy my books, my 2 Cobble Cove novels, and my poetry book, which is new, the Meows and Purrs with my cats. Yes, we have. Okay, all right. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you all panelists and
thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Debbie.
Roseanne.
Thanks, Roseanne.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks
Okay.
everyone for visiting.
Thank you all for coming.
Bye. Have a good night.
Have a good evening. Stay safe, everybody.
Meow,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Hope to see you, whoever's there. I hope to see you at the library.
Yeah, go pet your pets for us.
Yep. Have a good night.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
night, everyone.